exactly 8 o'clock if you want to set your watch. And it is 72 degrees. Boy, it doesn't get any nicer than that. Dr. Calpana DePasquale is with me here in the studio. 72 degrees, a couple of high clouds. It is perfect outside, isn't it?
I would say we're really blessed with some really nice weather these days.
Are you ready for Halloween?
I am.
You like Halloween?
I love Halloween.
Yeah, we haven't really gone through. We all, let's face it, have certain holidays we like more than most. Like one of my favorite holidays is Thanksgiving, just because it celebrates food. You don't have to go out and buy a lot of gifts for people. You get to relax. But a lot of people like Halloween. Of course, I know even more people really enjoy Christmas, and I like Christmas too, but I don't know, sometimes it can be a little stressful.
I agree. I think Christmas is more stressful. I love Thanksgiving because, yes, I love to eat lots of delicious things, and it's nice and relaxing. But Halloween's up there too. It always has been for me. It's always fun.
So if I dress up 1 week from tomorrow night and go by the DePasquale household, what kind of candy do you guys have?
Oh, we have the good stuff.
I was thinking
for you,
that.
We're saving some great stuff for you especially.
Well, there are homes in the neighborhood. This goes back even to the dark ages when I was a kid. You just knew that there were some homes that had the good stuff, the good candy. They really invested time and money into their candy distribution, and I'm guessing that Dr. DePasquale would be one of those people.
We like to hand out good candy to those cute kids. They show up in their little cute costumes. It's just a lot of fun to watch.
I tend to award candy amounts based on effort put into costume. I like to, provide sort of like the carrot, like that took a lot of effort. So here's 2 pounds of candy to rot out your teeth with, Oh, man. Dr. Calpana DePasquale is with us. And, of course, she is the founder of St. Augustine Ear, Nose, and Throat and Avanti Medical Spa. And, of course, they have locations both here and, close to the radio station over on the island off of 312 on Plantation Island Drive, as well as up in the Ponte Vedra and East High School area just off of US 1. So we are glad to have you here on this Friday morning.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So a lot of people are walking around sneezing and itching their nose, Does that mean it's allergy season or sinus season?
It could be either, depending. I have to tell you, I woke up with a little stuffy nose myself. Do you know any good ENTs I can visit?
Absolutely. We know a really good one. We can get you in the door. So is this the season? I mean, is this the season when people start coming to your practice and saying, hey, I've got this issue, or is it just sort of like, this layman sense that, we're into fall, so everybody must be scratching their nose?
Well, this is a very, very common time where we see a larger influx of patients. Also, the snowbirds tend to be here during this time of year also. So we just have a larger volume of patients. People tend to have more issues. I think we've discussed in another show before that it tends to be a very common time for nosebleeds because the air starts to get drier. So also the allergies. We talked also in a prior show about ragweed and how that is going to be up this season just because of the rains that we had in the summer. So there are all kinds of reasons where people start to have trouble right around now.
Well, there are issues, of course, relating to allergies, and then there's issues relating to sinus health, right? And they are different.
They are definitely different. And if you don't know, sometimes it could be very similar presentation, and it may take a doctor to help determine which one that you've got.
That's right. Know any doctors?
I think I know one or two.
Yeah. Dr. Calpana DePasquale with St. Augustine Ear, Nose, and Throat. In all seriousness, though, we've talked about this before, but I think it's a point that we should talk about a lot, and that is if you're someone who's been taking Claritin every day for years and not really getting a whole bunch of relief, but just feel like it's just something that you can try to do, or maybe you've been taking Afrin and some of those other nasal sprays over and over and not getting a lot of relief, it's time to go see a specialist, right?
Oh, yes, definitely. So that you know at least what you're treating and how to treat it properly.
Yeah, well, you can do that by visiting with Dr. DePasquale. Best way to get started would be to check out the website, saent.net. That's saent.net. Obviously, that stands for St. Augustine Ear, Nose, and Throat. When we come back, we are going to shift gears just a little bit and talk about what does it mean when they say things are natural. What is the actual definition? And when people use that on labeling and things that you're applying to your body, what makes something natural and what should you be looking out for? So stay tuned. Dr. DePasquale will be right back. It is 4 minutes after 8 o'clock. Diana Ross, and believe it or not, one of her last top 5 hits from back in the day. That was from 1983, believe it or not, sort of the tail end of the disco era. It is about 8 minutes after 8 o'clock, 72 degrees on our way up to a high today of 81 degrees. The National Weather Service at the St. Augustine Airport just upped our high temperature just a little bit. We expect temperatures right around 80 degrees today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. If you liked yesterday's weather, you're going to love the weather for the next couple of days. Almost near perfect conditions. Highs right around 80 degrees, overnight lows in the upper 60s. So perfect for sleeping. Perfect weather to start thinking about Halloween. Dr. Kalpana DePasquale is with us from St. Augustine Ear, Nose, and Throat and Avanti Medical Spa. Have you carved your pumpkin yet? Are you a pumpkin carver?
Usually the kids do it, and this year they're just really not as interested. I guess that's what happens when they become teenagers. Darn it.
And don't you drag out the pumpkin and say, "Come on, guys,
I haven't
just
done
do
it
this
yet."
one for mom."
I know.
You got to use mom guilt.
Right.
Have you ever used mom guilt?
Oh, of course. That's my prerogative, my right, isn't
Yeah,
it?
you will have that for the rest of your life. And mom guilt, man, that is the most powerful weapon on the planet.
It really is. It's amazing what you can get them to do, but I haven't pulled it out for the pumpkin yet. So we'll see. I'm sure I'll use it for something, but maybe not the pumpkin just yet.
On a wild guess, I had Dr. Stephanie Kinsey was in here from Palencia Dental last week, and she was talking about carving pumpkins with her kids, and they live in Palencia. And I said, so I guess you must carve your pumpkin and have one of those jack-o'-lanterns that has teeth, right? Because she's a dentist. She said, absolutely, you have to have the jack-o'-lantern with the teeth. But that's a lot of work.
Oh, it is. It's easier to make the ones without.
Yeah. Well, so anyway. We got off track just a little bit. That's my fault. But Dr. DePasquale is here. And, of course, one role that she plays is she's very much involved with Avanti Medical Spa. Before we get into talking about what the definition of natural means, talk to me about Avanti Medical Spa. Like when somebody just asks you, what is it? And you have to give sort of the 30-second elevator speech. Explain it to folks.
Well, Avanti Medical Spa, we provide minimally invasive treatments so that people can look and feel their best. Our goal is to keep things looking natural so people can feel good about themselves but not look overdone. And we also focus on things that, are good for your skin, like the product line and things like that. So in a nutshell, that's what I would say it's about.
Okay. So the kinds of services you provide would include?
We do Botox, we do filler, we do laser treatments, we do facials, and we also provide skincare products as well.
Any guys going by to get facials?
Actually, you'd be surprised.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I bet, I've heard that from, I know some guys. I have a good friend who's a law school professor who gets them all the time. And he says, after we make fun of him, he said, that's fine. I don't care. You make fun of me all you want, but it's the greatest feeling of his life. He says he loves getting a facial.
Well, it is great. It feels wonderful. And also, you get all that dead skin. You get exfoliated. And believe it or not, I know guys that get manicures and pedicures more frequently than I would. I actually hate going to get my nails done. I don't like it. But I have male friends that do it on a very regular basis.
Yeah. So I actually, somebody gave me a little gift certificate to get a pedicure. I've only had one in my life, but it was like 2 years ago, and it was great.
Hint. That was a hint. Then.
That must have been it. Although I think my toes are okay, but I guess we're not a good judge of
We're
that.
gonna look in the next couple of
That's right.
minutes.
I'll take my
check it
shoes
out.
and socks off. The greatest thing about getting a pedicure is just that whole when you put your feet in the little massage water thing.
Yes, except
That's
I wonder
nice.
if they cleaned it in between. Always.
You would think about that, wouldn't you?
Think about stuff like that.
Anyway, Dr. Kalpana DePasquale is with us here live. She joins us on Friday mornings. We appreciate her taking time out of her busy schedule to be with us. And today we wanted to talk a little bit about the definition of natural. When you see on all these different containers all over the place that say, hey, this is natural. What does that mean, or what should it mean?
Well, I think natural really depends on each person's view of natural, because there are substances out there that are natural, grown in nature, that aren't necessarily good for us. For example, cocaine is natural.
Yeah, good point.
Marijuana is natural. So you really want to think about, that word. And I think what's happening now is that people are really starting to use that as a marketing term. And the word, putting the word natural on a label isn't really, there's nothing regulated about it. So you can put it on there and say it's natural, but you are, as a consumer, should really be looking at the ingredients to see if it's the kind of natural that's good for you. So I guess we can start with my version of natural. I want to have things that are good for my body. So if it's natural and it's not good for my body, well, then I'm not really interested in having it. And, I'm looking for things that are more pure. So that's just my definition. But I think it can be different depending on the person and what they're looking for in their skincare products or body products.
So if you just see something, on the label natural, I guess that's also a term that's really not regulated per se by the Food and Drug Administration or even the FTC, right? I mean, I could say this is a natural radio broadcast, and which means nothing, but it wouldn't cause me any harm. I wouldn't be breaking any rules.
Right, because there's really no definitive term for the word natural. So
Right.
we don't really know what that means. So I think what I want to get out there today is that consumers should be aware what the word natural means. It's not really regulated. You want to really read the ingredients as well. There's some very popular products out there that are coming out with now more natural brands. But if you look at the ingredients, they do have some really great natural botanical plant things that they use in their product line, but then they have all kinds of funny chemical names as well. So those are the things that you got to watch for. And also you want to look for how the first few ingredients are the most obviously take up the most abundance of the product, and then when you get down the line they make up less than 1%. So if you see a chemical name, one that you can't pronounce, in the very first three ingredients, you got to wonder, even if there's some nice stuff afterwards that's very botanical and nice sounding.
Right. Yeah, I think just as a consumer, and obviously not a medical doctor like yourself, if I hear someone marketing using the term natural, I assume that it doesn't have a bunch of chemicals in it, that it is a regulated term when it's not.
Right. And actually, for example, I went into a very popular food chain a couple of weeks ago, and, they have all these...
name names. Let's have some fun.
So I went in there, and I love pistachios. So I saw these pistachio muffins, and I thought, oh, God, they're just going to be fantastic. I can't...
What could be wrong with that?
I made the mistake of not reading the label. So I get them home. I'm all excited to eat them, and I bite into this muffin, and it's like neon green or something. And I'm thinking,
well,
okay.
It's pistachio,
Right.
It's like pistachio ice cream.
Exactly. So I'm thinking, okay, where are the pistachios? Because there weren't any in there. Where did this neon green color come from? Because this doesn't look natural at all. So then I put on my reading glasses. I look at the label and start reading the ingredients. And it's got all kinds of artificial colors, pistachio flavor. And I thought, I was at this store that I thought was anything in here is going to be okay for me. So you got to be careful.
Yeah.
You got to read labels no matter what store you're in and what it says on the label.
Where do we ever come up with that idea anyway, that like pistachio ice cream has to be that like mint green color?
Exactly.
Because there's no pistachio on the planet that looks like that.
No. And that was a very big disappointment. I have to say it tasted pretty good, but I couldn't get past that neon green color.
I guess, too, it's for laymen like myself to understand, I know that the term organic is regulated, right? I mean, if it has that little symbol on it, right?
So it is not as regulated as you might think, but it's a little more regulated than the term natural. So organic just means that it's not grown with pesticides.
Oh, okay.
So, you got to just look at that basic definition of the term. So, okay, it's not grown with pesticides. I think that depends on what you're looking at. So organic skincare, not grown with pesticides, but, still it may be exposed to pollutants and stuff like that. So you really got to think into these things. It's a little more complicated than just putting a label on something and feeling like it's good for you.
That's Dr. Kalpana DePasquale, and you can learn more by going to AvantiMedSpa.net. That's AvantiMedSpa.net. You can also call the Avanti Med Spa locations here in St. Johns County at 461-6797. That's 461-6797. And we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about all these cosmetics that people use and whether or not the government actually takes a look at what's in there. What's that stuff that you're putting on your face and skin? We'll be right back. The Beach Boys here on 99.5 WSOS. 21 minutes after 8 o'clock, 73 degrees, on our way up to a high today of 80 degrees. No real chance of rain today, tomorrow, or Sunday. Lots of sunshine, high temperatures right around 80 degrees, overnight lows in the upper 60s. A near perfect weekend in store. And we get ready for the weekend on Friday mornings with Dr. Kalpana DePasquale. She comes in and usually educates us about all kinds of stuff. And Lord knows I need some educating. You guys out there may not need as much. But we were talking about the true meaning of natural today. And you see that all over the place. I bet we see that on labeling today more than maybe at any time in recent years, right?
Oh, I definitely think so. I think it's really become part of a national marketing propaganda. So It really is. I see it all over the place now.
You see it on a lot of cosmetics, obviously. And, there was a statistic here that we were talking about off the air about, 90% of the 10,500 cosmetics and skincare ingredients known to the Food and Drug Administration have never even been tested by them.
That's absolutely correct.
Wow. So
interesting factoid.
Isn't that? I mean, it is an interesting factoid because it says all this stuff that, people routinely put on their bodies has never even been tested.
That's right.
Wow.
And, I think what their point is that, in smaller doses, most of these are probably not hazardous to our health, but over time and over repetitive use, bottom line is we really don't know.
Right. And of course, you can use this stuff for years and years and years. And as we know, even items that may have some harmful effects in small doses used over long periods of time can have adverse effects, right?
Right. And nobody's studying these things, so we really don't know what the long-term effects could be.
What are some of the items that would be like in a skincare lotion or something like that that's a certain type of chemical that could cause problems over time? And what are some of the things that happen?
Well, I have actually a nice list here of things that people should look for. And for some of you driving, it may be hard, but one of them is 1,4-dioxane, aluminum chlorohydrate, ammonia. Formaldehyde, definitely not something.
That sounds natural.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, formaldehyde is natural, isn't it?
Well, I don't think so. Well, it's used to preserve dead bodies, so it's not something we preferably want to put on our
live
bodies.
Oh,
Exactly. Hydroquinone is one of the other ones that's a very questionable ingredient. Mercury, nanoparticles, parabens have really gotten a lot of attention lately as well. And toluene, phthalates are also another one. So a lot of these chemicals, they believe can have endocrine disruptors, so they can affect our fertility and all kinds of other things. So again, these things haven't actually been proven, but there's enough literature out there that I think makes us feel like we should watch for these certain chemicals and avoid them really if possible.
Sure. And some of these things are things that, our kids use or younger people use, like in the area of dealing with acne, for example. Some of the chemical ingredients on some of those solutions you can get at Walgreens or CVS are pretty scary.
It is. I mean, I'm a big label reader, so I read the labels of everything. And originally, I didn't do that originally when my kids started having some acne issues. Of course, I just went over the counter, and then then their skin got really irritated. And then I thought, okay, let me look at what's really in here. And there are a lot of chemicals, so it's just very important to look at the labels, read them carefully, so that we can know what we're allowing our kids to use and what we ourselves are allowing ourselves to use.
So it won't trash the name brand necessarily, but one of the items on the list of some of the research that you did here was a repair dark spot corrector. Okay, I would assume, not to be sexist, but this is the sort of thing that women might be inclined to use, maybe guys too, right? But it's to deal with age spots, correct?
That is correct.
So, yeah, read the list of, quote, natural items that are in that.
So water, that's good.
That's the only good thing.
Water's good. Dimethicone, aluminum starch. And again, this is where it starts to get fun for me because I'm a doctor and I'm used to pronouncing all these long, crazy names. But I figure if I'm having some difficulty, it really begs to question what on earth that ingredient is. So maybe we better go look it up. So the last word is octanyl succinate, dimethicone cross-polymer, ammonium. Oh, this one I don't even think I can say. Acrylodimethyl.
And yet people are applying this all over their bodies.
Yeah, my general rule of thumb, and I'd like to do another. I'd like to get into this further on another segment. But my general rule of thumb is if it twists your tongue and you cannot even say it, you might want to look it up. And, these days we all have smartphones. There's also a great website called ewg.org that you can kind of just put in the names, if you can spell them, but you can put in the names of the ingredients and it'll tell you the level of toxicity it may occur, how much data is available on those subjects as well. So it's ewg.com, and it's a database that really allows you to search all of these ingredients. And, not all of them are on there, but I've done this with numerous products, and I think it's a great tool.
I had the privilege of meeting your father-in-law, who's a chemist by training. So I would imagine if we went through this list and said, these are the things that are in this particular body lotion, he would be like, oh my God. Right?
Yes.
He would probably be a scary person to have a conversation with about the stuff that, exists on store shelves.
That's a conversation he and I need to have. We've had it on some level, but not an in-depth conversation.
Well, maybe bring him in here. That'd be a fun show too.
He can probably pronounce all of these words very,
very well. He definitely could
well.
pronounce them, yeah.
Yeah, I'm even having some trouble here, but I'm sure he could do it.
I bet if he told us too some of the other uses for some of these chemicals, it would make our heads spin.
Oh yeah,
because it's we know that formaldehyde has a lot of other uses, obviously, at the funeral home
for cadavers and everything in medical school. So not a pleasant stench.
All right. Well, having said all that, and now that we've frightened you to death, we are going to talk about that some issues dealing with mascara and body washes and things like that. And we're going to come back and kind of reset ourselves just a little bit here. Dr. Kalpana DePasquale is with us. And of course, She owns and operates Avanti Med Spa. She also, of course, is the founder of St. Augustine Ear, Nose, and Throat. Offices for both practices are located in 2 locations here in St. Johns County, off of State Road 312 on the island, and also near Ponte Vedra on US 1 North. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned. ABBA here on 99.5 WSOS. Good Friday morning to you. 26 minutes now before 9 o'clock. And every Friday morning between 8 and 9, we spend some time with Dr. Kalpana DePasquale, and she's the founder of St. Augustine Ear, Nose, and Throat. And she also, of course, is part of the team at Avanti Med Spa as well. And we're talking a little bit this morning about what's natural. There's so many products that we can use out there on our bodies that say they are natural. And we've talked about, all the list of ingredients on some of these products that are anything but natural. Having said all that, though, we don't want to scare people away from necessarily putting on mascara this morning, right?
It didn't scare me. I put on mascara this morning.
Is it natural?
Probably not. But, again, I think we got to weigh our risks. And, when you're slathering something all over your face and your body, that's bigger surface area. So maybe I need to come up with a natural mascara. I think that's a great idea.
That is a good idea. Dr. DePasquale is with us here live. One thing that we talked about off the air, which I think we should get out there right now and talk a little bit about. There's natural, which anybody can throw that term around loosely. It doesn't mean anything. It's not regulated by the government. Doesn't mean anything's been tested. Doesn't mean that it's natural. But then there's another term that's a little bit better that might give you a little bit more comfort, and that's plant-based.
Correct. I chose to talk about my products as being plant-based because I was just discouraged by the media and what they were calling natural and the fact that it wasn't really accurate. So, the reason I don't like to say natural is because it's a term that's thrown around and now it doesn't mean anything. So, to me, plant-based is much more accurate because everything that's derived in the product line that I created is all from a sugar or a plant or something, and something that isn't also not animal-based too, and that's important for a lot of people as well.
So if you purchase some of the Avanti Med Spa products, of course, you can go and be a part of all the different, procedures that they have at the Avanti Med Spa locations here in St. Johns County. But you can also shop online. And if one were to go to the website, shopavantirx.com, that's shopavantirx.com, and we'll put that website up on our Facebook page at WSOS Radio. If they were to go there, the items that they would buy would be plant-based, right?
That's correct. And we are also very transparent about our ingredients. Another really important and interesting fact is that the companies really aren't required to list every ingredient that is in the product. But we do. I think that it needs to be transparent. People need to know. There are a lot of cosmetic products out there that one of the last ingredients is fragrance. Well, what does that come from? And actually, I was looking at the Neutrogena Naturals line, and that's, almost every single one of their products has something called fragrance. Well, what is that derived from?
Right.
See, in Avanti RX, we want to make sure that the fragrance is all coming from an essential oil or something to that effect. So, I don't want it to be a synthesized fragrance because those are really irritating to a lot of people's skin.
And I guess those synthesized fragrances, the reason some of these other national brands would use that, is it because it's more intense or it's less costly or what,
Both. Again, so if you get a really powerful fragrance,
right.
That doesn't exist in nature usually. So, and the other thing is that, it's definitely less expensive.
You mean Old Spice aftershave isn't just, I can't find that in the woods?
No, I don't think so.
Man.
We need to look at the ingredient list on that one.
Can you imagine? Back in the day, Bonnie and I would remember this, high karate. Which used to be.
Oh, I didn't even know about
what that is?
I know about Axe.
Well, yeah, that's more your generation. But high karate back in the 60s and early 70s, that's like what my dad would use every day after he would get through shaving. And man, he'd put that on his face in the bathroom, and you could smell it in the kitchen.
That's right.
It was like turpentine. There was no way that was natural or plant-based.
Exactly. So, with products, I don't like a really, really strong odor. I feel that it should have a nice fragrance, but it should be one that doesn't linger and dissipates, quickly.
Yeah.
And those kind of fragrances are just more pleasing to me just because I think I've gotten used to not having such things that are so chemically created. And after a while, you really start to enjoy the fragrances from essential oils much, much more.
Right. Well, as a guy, I can tell you when a lady walks by and, 5 minutes later, you could still smell the quote fragrance. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really work.
No,
it's like somebody
it really
putting
doesn't.
it's like somebody putting carpet cleaner on themselves. It's just too much.
It is too much. I agree. You should have a lingering, nice smell that leaves,
That's
but
the word.
not something that's so in your face.
Lingering. That's the word. That captures it perfectly. That's what people should
makes you
strive
think
for.
about that woman long after she's gone, but it's very subtle.
Man, that sounds like a romance novel.
There you go.
Are you reading trashy novels, Dr. DePasquale?
No.
That's where that comes from. All right. I'll tell you what, when we come back, we're going to find out exactly how many pounds of lipstick a woman will put on her body during the course of a lifetime. Stay tuned. Gary Wright here on 99.5 WSOS. 18 minutes now before 9 o'clock, TGIF Friday here in St. Augustine. We're live with Dr. Kalpana DePasquale, and of course she is with St. Augustine Ear, Nose, and Throat, the founder of that practice, with locations over on the island just off of 312 over the bridge, and also up in the Nice High School area in Ponte Vedra off of US 1. And of course, at both of those locations, too, there's also a Avanti medical spa. And before we get into talking a little bit more about what's natural and what isn't that we apply to our bodies all day long, once again, give us a quick sense of what Avanti Medical Spa is all about, Dr. DePasquale.
At Avanti Medical Spa, we focus on minimally invasive procedures to keep you looking and feeling your best. And we really try to keep it looking natural. I mean, I know that people see in the media where everything looks overdone and strange, and that's something that we are not a proponent of.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, one of the, we're going to have a little bit of fun right now because Dr. DePasquale came up with some interesting factoids. If you had to guess out there, and we're going to make you sound really smart when you're hanging around the coffee pot today, how many pounds of lipstick will a woman ingest over her lifetime? Not just apply to her lips, right? But will actually get swallowed. What do you think that is? Dr. DePasquale knows the answer. And what is it, Dr. DePasquale?
Should we make it a multiple choice?
Yeah, that's right. If you think you know, give us a call, 217-4032. How many pounds would you ingest? So this, just so I can understand it, because it's been a while since I've worn lipstick. Yeah, I've never worn lipstick. But so this is because what women are licking their lips, or, you're eating food or whatever. And so the lipstick comes off of your lips, goes into your mouth, and you swallow it.
Exactly.
Wow. And typically, lipstick is made of what? I mean, what do you think? I mean, it's
all kinds of different things. I mean, I think it will depend on the manufacturer, but again, there's quite a lot of things in lipstick as well.
There's got to be some chemicals in that stuff.
Oh,
if you think about it, it has to stay on all day, and it has to survive people holding coffee cups up to it, eating, and
it doesn't
mints.
come off. I mean, how hard it is to get off a coffee cup after. I mean, it's amazing. So I'm thinking, what's in this stuff?
So you're ingesting this stuff.
Exactly.
Wow, there's going to be some interesting data on that. All right, so how many pounds?
4 pounds.
4 pounds of lipstick you will eat during the course of your life. You can call it whatever you want, but you're basically eating lipstick. So anyway, we just now women won't be wearing lipstick.
Exactly.
Oh man. So you have another fun factoid too, dealing with just the amount of ingredients that are out there, right?
Oh, absolutely. What I think is an interesting fact is that over 1,100 ingredients have been banned from cosmetics in Europe. Do you know how many have been banned in the United States?
Probably not that many.
10.
Wow.
Big difference.
And they do a lot of testing over there, obviously.
Yeah, and apparently their standards are probably a lot stricter than ours just based on those numbers alone.
I know, just even in the area, just because we're conscious of it here in Florida, in the area of suntan lotions and things like that, apparently their regulations are much stricter than ours as well.
I mean, they are, but not necessarily in the lines of what chemicals you can use. Because one of the things on sunscreen that's a pet peeve of mine is that many of them are made with avobenzene, and a lot of the spray sunscreens really have much more hazardous chemicals on them than just something that you would apply with your fingers. So you really got to read the sunscreen labels as well.
Here's a good number that will just trash your Friday. The percentage of personal care products that contain at least one chemical linked to cancer.
Ugh, yeah. Unbelievable, isn't it?
That number is 20%. So 20% of the personal care products that I could see at the public, the personal care aisle there at Publix, or it's actually more than one aisle these days, that 20% of those items I have a chemical in them that's linked to cancer.
Yes. It's unbelievable with impurities.
And it's still being sold.
It's still being sold.
Wow.
So we as consumers have to be very, very educated these days to seeing what we're utilizing, what we're putting on our skin. We don't want to be ostriches with our heads in the sand and not knowing what we're doing.
It feels like an area that's that just doesn't get a lot of attention. And that once it does, things will probably change, but we just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, I don't think we've gotten there yet, but I really hope that things start to change and things start to be a little more regulated in the near future.
Now, having said all that, now that we have frightened everyone from using anything at Walgreens or CVS in the personal care aisle, what do you recommend, though? I mean, obviously that they should, learn more about the products that are available at the Avanti Medical Spa, but just overall, when folks are trying to take care of themselves and they feel like they need some of these products, can you kind of give us some broad words of wisdom?
Yes, I definitely can. So first of all, we shouldn't, just walking into a store like a drugstore or a high-end department store, we don't want to just make that assumption that whatever we get in there is going to be okay. As my experience with that muffin, and the neon green in there, and it was bought from a store that I thought contained all good things. We have a responsibility to ourselves to still read the labels and see what's in the products that we are either, applying on our bodies and what's in them. So that's really my big take-home message for everyone. And also with the issue of sensitive skin, I hear that a lot with people, and they believe that skincare products don't work because they've created some sort of sensitivity in the past. If you have a problem with sensitivity, it very likely may be from some chemicals that are in the products. And I think if you know several products that make you sensitive, at that point, you should probably investigate the ingredients and see what the commonalities are so you can know for the future the things that you should avoid.
Absolutely. Well, that's great advice once again. If you'd like to learn more, too, about the Avanti Med Spa, where everything there is plant-based and natural, right?
Well, I don't want to use that word because,
natural.
I don't know what that really even means anymore.
We're going to discount that word. Go to avantimedspa.net. That's avantimedspa.net. You can also take a look at the products that they make available at the Avanti Med Spa. You can get those directly online by going to shopavantirx.com. That's shopavantirx.com. And we will put that link up on our website, not on our website, but on our Facebook page at WSOS Radio here in just a minute. If you have any questions at all, so you can always call here in St. Augustine, Avanti Medical Spa at 904-461-6797. That's 461-6797. We'll be right back with Dr. DePasquale. The Staples Singers, including Mavis Staples, who is part of our 450th birthday celebration here in St. Augustine. And she did that song, actually, on Friday night during the 450th and did a great job. 78 years young. It is 7 minutes now before 9 o'clock as we wrap up our time with Dr. Kalpana DePasquale. And today we've been talking about, a variety of different issues, but especially, what's the difference between something that's natural and something that is plant-based? We're just trying to establish the fact that those are pretty key terms to distinguish, correct?
Oh, it definitely is. And I think consumers need to be aware of what they're doing more than ever.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about, how you can make your routine more green.
Well, I think one of the best bits of advice I can give people is try to simplify your routine. When the label says natural, read the label more closely just to make sure that what's in there is really natural. Try to avoid synthetic fragrances. Try to use recyclable packaging. Also, know about the company that you're dealing with and make sure that their values stack up to yours. What is that company's mission statement? Also, choose organic if you can, because at least they're grown with less pesticides than other products would be. Avoid the use of petrochemicals, and also don't fall for exotic trends. I mean, if it's new, just wait around, see what happens after a while. You don't want to be the first one to jump on the bandwagon of these new trends, and they tend to be very, very popular. And also, last but not least, being healthy on the inside keeps you healthy on the outside.
Yeah. And what does that mean? Because there are things we can do in terms of what we ingest if we care about and we're concerned about our skin and appearance and that sort of thing. I mean, I guess we're sort of trained to think, well, I got to put this lotion on, or I got to get this special ointment or something like that. But indeed, you can control a lot of your external appearance by what you put inside.
Absolutely. I think that is so important and probably extremely underrated. So you want to avoid diets that are high in saturated fats, obviously. The things we know. I mean, I know for myself, I like to eat a lot of green leafy vegetables and things that are good for me, things that contain natural antioxidants. So I like to have a very colorful diet with great vegetables, lean meats, and things that are good for me.
Yeah. And, of course, drink a lot of water.
Oh, I love water. I pretty much only drink water most of the time.
We see that here at the radio station.
Dr.
DePasquale drinks a lot of water, and that's great for your your skin, right? It keeps it nourished and looking moist, right?
Yes, it keeps you hydrated. It keeps your kidney function working much more orderly. Hydrates your skin, hydrates your vocal cords also. I mean, it's just got such great functions. Water is definitely the essence of life.
Dr. Kalpana DePasquale, of course, you can learn more about her and about her specialization by calling the Avanti Medical Spa, and you can meet with her. You can call 904-461-6797. That's 461-6797. I know it's hard to remember phone numbers, especially when you're driving around. We don't even want you jotting them down. So try to visit this website, avantimedspa.net. That's avantimedspa.net. And if you'd like to get some plant-based products that deal with some of these issues we've been talking about this morning, go to shopavantirx.com. And that's, once again, that web address is shopavantirx.com. And we'll put that up on our Facebook page as well. Hey, before we let Dr. DePasquale leave, we want to thank her and congratulate her for a nice donation that was made to the Donna Foundation as part of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which, of course, we're in the middle of right now here in October. And, of course, the Donna Foundation helps with breast cancer issues, especially for those people that live here in Northeast Florida. And so thank you for that donation.
Oh, you are absolutely welcome. We were happy to help out to such a great organization.
Yeah, so a big contribution that was made by St. Augustine Ear, Nose, and Throat to the Donna Foundation as we try to deal with breast cancer awareness. It's a issue certainly that we're dealing with a little bit more effectively, don't you think? I mean, as a medical professional, you've been around this for a while.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because one of the things I love about the Donna Foundation is that 100% of their proceeds go to research, where if you research some other companies that deal with breast cancer, you have to look at the portion that goes to research and things like that. And the Donna Foundation, they just do a great job, and they're really coming up with some great strides in breast cancer awareness and working towards a cure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, once again, thank you to Dr. DePasquale and the entire team at St. Augustine Ear, Nose, and Throat, and for that contribution to the Donna Foundation. Thank you very much, Dr. DePasquale. We'll see you again next week. Well, what are we going to talk about next week?
I think we should talk about decoding labels as a follow-up to this one. We got people interested. We're going to talk more about the labels and what to watch for.
We're going to scare you some more next Friday, so tune in. All right, thanks, Dr. DePasquale.
Thanks.
Street I walk, I find another dead end. I'm on my own, but I'm so